Hey guys, welcome back to Kristen Life Acres. I am Kristen. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for joining us in this video. And if you are new here, please consider hitting that subscribe button, like, and share the video. So today I'm making, this is my New Year's Day recipe for fortune and luck. This Southern Gumbo is made with black-eyed peas and collard greens with a few other special items. So to get started, you want to take 6 slices of bacon, and I like to add some freshly cracked pepper to it. So I've got this already fried, and we're going to go ahead and keep the bacon grease in the cast iron skillet, except for we are going to remove about 2 tablespoons for later in the recipe, which I have right here in my cup. So what we want to do is take a large pot, and I've got about 4 cups of beef broth. You can also use chicken broth or vegetable broth if you want to make this vegan. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the back burner on to about medium high. Then we're going to add 3 cloves of garlic. After you've added the garlic into your broth, we're going to go ahead and remove the bacon strips from your cast iron skillet. And you want them pretty crunchy, so if they kind of start to fall apart, that's okay. Definitely want to be able to, and if like I said, you're going to leave this in the pan, and then if there's any little, bacon, little tiny scraps left, leave them in there. Okay. We're going to turn this front one on to about the same, medium high. And we're going to add approximately, this is maybe a half of an onion. You can use red or white, whichever you prefer. And we're just going to go ahead and saute that until the onion becomes translucent, so you can almost see through it, which takes just a couple of minutes. So when I come back, this will be ready, and we'll go to the next step. So it looks like my onions are nice and kind of browned from the bacon grease and starting to become translucent. So I've turned that down a little bit to like a medium-low. And your stock pot should be warm now with the garlic in it. So we're going to add, I added 1 small jalapeno and a green bell pepper, pretty finely chopped. You can add more or less if you want it spicier or if you like more green bell pepper. Alright, then we're going to add the black-eyed peas. I have soaked these overnight and rinsed them, and I just salted them a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and add these into the large pot. And just give it a little stir, and then we're going to turn it up to high. Not all the way high, but a little bit warmer than we had it before. Okay, now that the onions are translucent, we're going to slowly add the collard greens. I have about a half of a bunch here. My kids aren't crazy about it, so I kind of dice it up. I've washed it, rinsed it, dried it for the most part, because you don't want to put really wet greens into your pan of bacon grease. It will burn you. So the only tip or trick I have is if you're not familiar with collard greens or you haven't used them a lot, you want to make sure that you take the center stem out, because that's a very tough piece and you don't want it in there. You're going to have to add these slowly, and this actually may look like a lot, but they really condense and reduce down as they cook. So you just want to start with a small handful. Let those cook down a little bit, and I like to break up a few bacon pieces every time that I add a little bit more of my greens to my pan. While you're waiting for your greens to finish cooking down, you're going to take, this is about 2 pounds of andouille sausage that I've just kind of cut at an angle in large bite-sized pieces. It will reduce down a little bit, but not a ton. So let's go ahead and take some seasoning. This is a mixture. You can either use like a Cavender's. I've got garlic, onion, salt, pepper, paprika, cayenne, basil, thyme, oregano, just a good mix. And so I'm just going to put a little bit on top of here, but I'm not going to use it all because I need to add more as I flip it in the pan. So maybe like half of it or so, and just kind of start to get those flavors in there. All right, and by this time your broth should be starting to boil. So we're going to turn this back down a little bit to probably medium. And once you remove your greens, you're going to actually add them to your large stock pot. The greens in total, for the amount I made already chopped, took about 15 minutes to reduce. Like I said, you just do a small portion at a time and then continue to add more. And let me get this so I can hold this pan. Okay. Now don't worry about getting every single piece out, but try to get all of the greens out. Don't worry about the bacon or bacon grease, because we are going to add that part that I had told you to save, about 2 tablespoons. I just start with a small dollop and then I add as needed. So we're going to take our sausage with the pan still on medium-high and add it to the pan to where it's flat. So you're not going to be able to do all of this at once. This is going to be kind of in groups until you've got the bottom of the pan somewhat full. All right, we're going to let those saute for a few minutes. So you want to get your sausage to kind of a nice golden brown color. Looks like it's got pretty good browning on both sides. I did add a little bit more of my dry seasoning while they were cooking. Generally, bite-sized pieces like this will be about 5 minutes on each side on medium-high. You don't want to cook it at too high of a temperature because the bacon grease will splash you. All right. Come on. All right. So I've still got quite a bit of bacon grease in here. I'm just going to add a little bit more. And then and add in another batch. Oops, getting a little high. Place them individually in here just to make sure that they all are touching the bottom of the pan. You don't have to. I just like a really good simmer. I love that brown crunchiness that it gets on each side. They are going to continue to cook in the pot, so you don't have to worry about that. While these are cooking, what you want to do is take about 2 tablespoons of white vinegar and go ahead and add it into your large pot. And what that does is break down the acidity and bitterness of your greens. And I had that large pot boiling for approximately 15 minutes, and now I've lowered it back down to about medium. We're just tossing this sausage, moving it around. It's getting that really nice brown color. Be careful not to get splattered. And then just slowly continue adding a little bit of your dry seasoning. This is the last batch of the andouille sausage going into our large pot. I am going to continue to cook this on like a low simmer for at least an hour. You can do it longer. It depends on how long your beans have been soaked, what size that you have cut your collard greens to, you know, and what, I guess, a portion you've decided to use. So let me move this and I will show you guys what it looks like. So I can get a scoop here. This is what you're gonna have when you're finished. And then you can serve this over a bed of rice, or you can serve it with some cornbread. I just like to eat it as is, but that's up to you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in my next one. Happy New Year.